Hi, welcome back. We're going to pick up with your chart 4. This is going to be, let's see, we got through podiatric medicine, and then there are 4 videos for you, one on diphtheria, one on pertussis, one on tetanus, and then also on the vaccination for all those 3. They managed to lump them all together and put them into one vaccination, which is good. Okay, so next abbreviation is doctor. So this is in regards to somebody that actually has a doctorate level degree. It's not just a medical doctor. This could be a paleontologist. This could be doctor of philosophy. It doesn't really matter. If they have that level of education, this is the abbreviation in which you address them. Doctor. Capital D, lowercase r with a period after it. Okay, DR, both lowercase. This can mean either dram or drainage. Drainage is where you allow a route of escape for fluid buildup, so like a drainage tube if somebody has an infection or if they've had surgery, and they need to be able to drain the fluid or remove the fluid from that area. The abbreviation for that would be DR. Then the dram, this is a unit of measurement. It was used by apothecaries, so it's still technically used in medication more to measure the volume of the pill container. But a dram, I think, is 27 grains, and a grain is a measurement of medication. So it's a measurement in medications. Dram. Okay. DRG, diagnostic related group. So these are a group of healthcare workers that are working in conglomeration with each other. They kind of perform their own individual parts of the, they help each other out, right? So you could have like a family doctor and a lab, working together in the same place, or an internist and a cardiologist and a family doctor, right? You have all these medical professionals working together to provide services to their patients. Next is dressing. There's 3 different abbreviations you can use for this. There's DSG, DRG, DRSG. Okay, a dressing is what you use to dress a wound, so to stop bleeding. The bandage is what holds the dressing in place, but the dressing is like the gauze that you hold direct pressure on a wound that we used in practice on Wednesday in class. Okay. DS, this is dextrose and saline. Dextrose is a form of sugar that we inject intravenously to a patient. So we use this for when they have hypoglycemic emergencies. And if they are unable to swallow, we give them dextrose via IV. So D/S is dextrose and saline. Okay. Then we have DSD. This is a dry sterile dressing. We use this for traumas. We use this for burns, right? We need to cover the affected area with a dry sterile dressing. Okay, DSD. DTs, this is delirium tremens. So this is usually like 2 or 3 days after somebody whose body's addicted to alcohol. After they take their last drink of alcohol, and if they wait more than a couple days to drink alcohol again, they'll actually get kind of delirious. They'll act kind of confused. They get really weak. They might spike a fever, right? Their body thinks that something that they should have is gone because they're so used to having alcohol on such a regular basis. So they will get the DTs. DVM, this is a doctor of veterinary medicine. This is a vet. Right, so if you like medicine and it really interests you, but you prefer helping animals, this is probably the job for you. So after your bachelor's degree, you would go, instead of like med school to be a regular like people doctor, you would go to veterinary school. So it's graduate school. We have one. Let's see, Michigan State, I think, is the only real veterinarian approved school in Michigan. If I might misspeak that, but they have a great program. DW, both capital. This is distilled water. Distilled water has nothing else in it but water. Okay, so they take water and they boil it, and the steam that comes off, they catch it and conglomerate it, and that's your distilled water. Like, it doesn't have any particulates, right? It's just pure water, right? This isn't really great to drink because it changes, it screws with the pressures in your gastrointestinal tract, and it makes it much harder to digest things because it'll wind up pulling, kind of reverses. Like, normally if you have lots of nutrients in your gut, it wants to go from a high concentration to a low concentration. So it pulls the nutrients out of what you're digesting in your intestines and pulls it into your bloodstream. Whereas with distilled water, it kind of, it leaves you a little bloated and distended because the water isn't getting absorbed. It's actually hindering digestion. Okay, dextrose and water. So this is sugar and water. So when we give intravenous dextrose, we give D5W or D10W. This is if it's like 5% dextrose, if it's 10% dextrose, right? We don't ever really give pure sugar to patients. First of all, it's going to spike their sugar way too high. And second of all, it's very corrosive to the vasculature. So we give it in a diluted form. So that's D5W and D10W. So if you're just talking about dextrose and water in general, we give it D/W. Diagnosis, this is DX. It can be capital or lowercase. Okay, diagnosis is having all knowledge of a condition. So this is when a doctor says, hey, it can't be anything else. This is exactly what you have. You have a diagnosis. Okay. Each, that one's pretty easy. EA, each, like you have 3 of each pill, right? Each. EBL, this is estimated blood loss. So that's going to be a really important thing when you have a trauma patient that has been injured and they are actively bleeding. They lose a lot of blood. The only real substitute for blood in your body is blood. But on an ambulance, we don't necessarily carry just fresh blood. We don't carry it. It would be very, very difficult to go through it to make it financially feasible. Also, I don't really have a storage or a temperature controlled refrigerator for it. So if somebody starts to lose a lot of blood, okay, that helps tell us, all right, do they need saline? Are they going to need whole blood? How much saline should we give them? Because that's what we have on an ambulance. Do they need lactated ringer, which is another type of fluid that we would give patients in the event of a trauma? So estimated blood loss is going to kind of give you an idea how severe that patient is going to wind up being. Okay. ECG or EKG, this is electrocardiogram. And the whole reason why there's a K is because in German, of all things, cardio starts with a K. So in English, it's C, like cardio with a C, right? But in German, it's with a K. Also, it's a little bit easier to say EKG instead of ECG. It just rolls off the tongue better to say EKG. So it can be either or. This is a picture of the electrical activity of your heart. So very important. We can see if there's a dysrhythmia going on, if there's any issues with the electrical circuit of your heart. Then we have emergency department. Emergency department, this is where you go in the event of an emergency, a medical emergency, right? It's an emergency department. It's a department of a hospital. All right, EEG. This is electroencephalogram. So if you break this word apart, electro means electric or electrical activity. Encephalo means head, or more specifically inside the head, which is the brain. And gram is a picture. So it's a picture of the electrical activity of the heart. EENT, this is an ear, eye, nose, throat. This is a specialty in medicine. Generally, if you've ever noticed you have allergies or you get sick, you know, your ears get plugged up, they may hurt, your eyes run, your nose runs, your throat may hurt. They're all interconnected, right? So they came up with this medical specialty in order to tackle those things specifically. Elixir. So this is an alcohol-based mixture, and it's meant to have medicinal properties. So it's a beneficial solution, if you will, of I guess properties that would be helpful, right? So the alcohol is basically just the fluid that it's suspended in, and like you could put vitamins and create an elixir, right? Something that has medical or medicinal benefits. EMG, this is an electromyogram. Electrical activity. Myo means muscle. MYO means muscle. And then gram is a picture. So this is a picture of the electrical activity of the muscle. Okay. This is generally, they stick little needles under your skin and kind of give it a little shock to see how it responds to what your nerve would be telling it to do. EMS, this is emergency medical services. So this is pre-hospital care. This includes EMTs, paramedics, first responders. It could also be firefighters, emergency medical dispatchers, right? All these people provide emergency medicine to the public. Okay. EMT, this is emergency medical technician. This is my personal job title for my second job. But EMTs can have basic or advanced life support training, and they're the ones that provide the pre-hospital emergency care, whether you're sick or you are injured, and they take you to the hospital. All right, ENT, this is an ear, nose, throat doctor, very similar to ear, eye, nose, throat, but just ear, nose, throat, ENT. EPA is part of the government, it's the Environmental Protection Agency. So they specialize in in the safety of the environment and how that pertains to humans and other living things, right? So we as humans depend on bugs, animals, other life forms, plants, in order to survive. If we don't have some of these, it can throw off an ecosystem and it causes big problems. So the EPA wants to keep humans safe. It wants to sustain life, wildlife as well. And they look at how agencies or how processes in, like, say, healthcare would be affecting the environment, whether that's through disposal of biohazards or, EPA is getting involved with the spray foam for firefighters. It's actually illegal now in the state of Michigan, and they're removing those from firehouses because the foam was breaking down into particles called PFAS, and it was getting into drinking water reserves under the ground, and it was contaminating them. So the EPA researched it, made a decision, and found what were the most likely culprits, and they're kind of taking care of that. ER, emergency room, same kind of thing, tomato with the emergency department. ESR, erythrocyte sedimentation rate. So this, I want to find a good picture. So this is a blood test where they look at, this over here. They look at a vial of blood, okay? And then in a certain period of time, they look to see how far down that the red blood cells drop. So this white part up here is actually blood plasma, which is the liquid part of the blood. And they look and see how fast these red blood cells float down to the bottom. It doesn't directly tell you what's wrong, but it's an indicator if it's abnormal that something is not right. So, all right. Etiology. This is a cause of disease. So I like to use bronchitis as a good example because just about everybody has had bronchitis at some point in time in their life. And it's either caused by a pathogen, which is a disease-causing organism like a virus or bacteria, or it's caused by a disease process like COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, right? So you can have different causes of a disease that has the same name for both, right? So you have to look at the etiology when you start looking at how you treat diseases, right? So if you have bronchitis and it's caused by a pathogen, you would want to give antibiotics. Whereas if it's not a pathogen, you don't necessarily want to give them antibiotics. It's not going to do anything, right? If it's a disease process of the body, you probably need to give steroids and some sort of bronchodilator, okay, which enlarges and relaxes your bronchi so that air can get through. So I'm going to throw some examples of like electrocardiogram, EEG, and EMG. I want you to know the differences between those. That's important. And then I want you to understand what the EPA is. So I'm going to have some other videos that are posted after this. So just watch them, learn from them, know what their abbreviations are. Use Quizlet. That's probably the most beneficial thing I can tell you to help you study. I don't know if any of you have started using Quizlet and creating the charts for it, but that is an option. So stay tuned and I will be posting more videos.